Hey T-Squad, welcome back to another episode of Dropping the True Crime Tea, the podcast where we uncover mysteries that deserve way more attention. I'm your host, Kirsty, and today we're diving into a deeply compelling true crime story, a cold case that haunted a small Pennsylvania town for nearly 4 decades before justice finally knocked at the door. This is the full story of Maryann Bagenstose, a devoted mother whose disappearance sparked a baffling investigation filled with secrets, lies, and an unexpected twist that took almost 40 years to unfold. Get comfy, grab your tea, and let's get started. Maryann Bagenstose was a young, vibrant mother living in the quiet community of West Willow, Pennsylvania. At 25 years old, Maryann was dedicated to her job as a nurse's aide and completely devoted to her 2-year-old son. Her marriage to Bagenstose, however, was strained. In fact, they were in the middle of a tense divorce and custody battle, with Maryann gaining primary custody. Despite the situation, Jera stayed close, maybe a bit too close, still frequently helping Maryann with errands and chores. Maryann had recently begun a new relationship with a man who was renting a room in her home. Friends noticed Maryann seemed optimistic, excited about her future, and ready to move on, particularly looking forward to buying herself a new car and starting fresh. On June 5th, 1984, Jera arrived at Maryann's home early in the morning. He had agreed to help Maryann trade in her old car for a newer one. According to Jera, when he arrived, Maryann was still getting ready, putting on makeup and finishing getting dressed. Jera claimed he decided to take their son to a nearby park while she finished. When Jerry returned about an hour later, Maryann was gone. He told authorities he found a note saying that her car wouldn't start and she'd walked to a nearby convenience store. Oddly enough, Jerry threw this note away, never considering it important. But Maryann never returned from this supposed trip to the store, and, notably, no employees at the store ever recalled seeing her that day. 2 days after Maryann vanished, her family became increasingly worried and reported her missing. The police quickly discovered something chilling inside Maryann's garage, a large, freshly dug hole in the floor, resembling a grave. But strangely, no body was ever found in this makeshift grave. Why was there a hole? Was this a plan that went wrong? Police then found another disturbing clue, a crumpled note hidden inside the living room. The message said, "Had to run a quick errand, be right back." But Maryann didn't write it. Immediately, suspicion fell heavily on Jera, whose stories kept changing and whose explanations made little sense. Investigators learned he had no solid alibi, missed work on the day Maryann disappeared, and even had an unexplained injury on his arm. Friends and coworkers also shared that Maryann had confided in them shortly before vanishing, saying if anything ever happened to her, Jerry would be responsible. Despite these alarming clues, no charges were filed because investigators lacked enough direct evidence. The case went cold, but the police never gave up. Over the next several decades, detectives tried creative ways to coax a confession from Jerry. One strategy involved sending fake postcards pretending to be from Maryann, just to see how Jerry would react. Each time, Jera received these mysterious postcards, but never mentioned them to anyone exactly how you wouldn't expect a worried husband to behave. The decades rolled by, and Maryann's mother sadly passed away without ever knowing the truth about her daughter. But justice wasn't done yet. In 2016, investigators reopened Maryann's cold case and re-examined old evidence, especially that handwritten note found in her living room. Using new forensic techniques, detectives compared handwriting samples and confirmed what they long suspected: the note had been written by none other than Maryann Bagenstose himself. Finally, after 38 years, police arrested Jera in December 2022, charging him with homicide in Maryann's disappearance. Even without a body, prosecutors were confident they had enough evidence to prove his guilt. In early 2024, Jerry faced trial. The courtroom heard testimony from friends and coworkers who vividly recalled Maryann's fears and her predictions about Jerry. The jury also learned how Jerry's behavior never matched that of a concerned husband. They deliberated for about 4 hours before finding him guilty of voluntary manslaughter. While they believed Jerry had killed Maryann, they couldn't confirm premeditation, probably because Maryann's body had never been located. Jera, now 70 years old, was sentenced to 4 to 10 years in prison, a sentence some considered light after such a long delay in justice. Even after conviction, one huge mystery remains. Maryann's body has still never been found. Pennsylvania State Police continue the search, hoping one day to provide closure for her loved ones. This case stands out as a powerful example of relentless police work and dedication, highlighting that even decades later, justice can finally prevail. It also serves as a grim reminder of the dark secrets that can linger behind closed doors. And that's the tragic yet compelling story of Maryann Bagenstose, a young mother whose disappearance sparked a nearly 40-year search for answers. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to follow or subscribe to Dropping the True Crime Tea. Rate us 5 stars if you'd like more stories brought to light. Until next time, Tea Squad, stay safe, stay curious, and keep sipping that tea.